Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 26. Kada va tvam drishtva गिरिश तव भव्याङ्घ्रियुगलं गृहीत्वा हस्ताभ्यां शिरसि नयने वक्षसि वहन् समाश्लिष्याघ्राय स्फुटजलजगन्धान् परिमलान् अलभ्यां ब्रह्माद्यैः मुदमनुभविष्यामि हृदये. अन्वया. हे गिरीश, त्वां दृष्ट्वा तव भव्याङ्घ्रियुगलं हस्ताभ्यां गृहीत्वा शिरसि नयने वक्षसि वहन् समाश्लिष्य स्फुटजलजगन्धान् परिमलान् आघ्राय ब्रह्माद्यैः अलभ्यां मुदं हृदये kada va anubhavishyami. I don't want Brahma Padavi or Vishnu Padavi. Just bless me with Nitya Paramananda Sukha, that is eternal blissful state. So asked Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada initially, and then he added his desire as to, with Lord Shiva's grace, when will I get the opportunity to stand directly in Parameshwara's presence and sing verses praising him, then be able to meditate on him, and then in Kailasa, when will I get a direct vision of that great Lord Shiva with Mother Uma by his side, seated on Nandi, surrounded by the Pramathaganas, the whole atmosphere emitting an aura of happiness all around? This was the prayer in the previous verses. And then now in this shloka, he asks for that happiness or blissful state which is unattainable even by Brahma and others. So, what is that happiness which is so difficult to be attained for Brahma and others also? We will see how Sri Shankara brings it out in this shloka. He Girisha, Girau Shete iti Girishaha. It means one who is seen in the lying down posture on the mountains of Kailasa, that great Shiva, Tvam, you, Drishtva, on seeing, Tava, your, Bhavyangri Yugalam, the 2 feet which bless the seekers with all their desires, Hastabhyam, with my 2 hands, Grihitva, holding them, and then Shirasi, on my head, Nayane, then on my eyes, Vakshasi, on my chest, Vahan, holding that or keeping that onto my chest. It means I hold your 2 feet on my head, then reverentially touch it to my eyes, and then hold them very dearly onto my chest. Samaslishya, then hugging your feet closely, Sphuta Jalaja Gandhana, without any obstacles, the fully blossomed lotuses, Parimalana, the fragrance emitted from such lotuses, Agraya, having enjoyed the smell, Brahmadhyaihi, by Brahma and other devatas also, Alabhyam, obtaining which is impossible, Mudam, that great joy or bliss or happiness, Hridaye, in my mind, Kada, whenever Anubhavishyami, will I get a direct experience and enjoy. Please bless me with this kind of happiness, is Sri Shankara's prayer in complete devotion, filled with humility. With Ishvara's grace, gaining a direct vision of the great Parameshwara, then being able to hold the pure lotus feet of that Parameshwara with his own two hands on the head, taking the feet close to the eyes in reverence, enjoying with the nostrils the fragrance emitted by the fully bloomed lotus feet. Such joy is out of the reach even for Brahma and others. So, when will I be blessed with this kind of happiness? Is Sri Shankara's sincere prayer. Girisha is a word which gives the meaning of one who sleeps or stays on the mountains of Kailasa. From a spiritual perspective, the meaning will be he who resides and shines in the minds which are always pure. Or it can also mean Giri means the mind which is kept active with the three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Shyati, that is Girim Shyati, which means making it pure. Devotees who surrender completely to Paramashiva, he removes all the unwanted and impure thoughts, emotions, etc. from such a devotee's mind, thereby rendering the mind absolutely pure, crystal clear. This is the implied meaning of the word Girisha. Explanation for this verse is concluded here. Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 27. Karasthe he madrau Girisha nikatasthe dhanapatau Grihasthe swarbhujamarasurabi chintamani gane Shirasthe शीतांशौ चरणयुगलस्थे खिलशुभे कमर्थं दास्येऽहं भवतु भवदर्थं मम मनः. हे गिरीश, हे माद्रौ करस्थे, धनपतौ निकटस्थे, स्वर्भुजामरसुरभिचिन्तामणिगणे गृहस्थे, शीतांशौ शिरस्थे, अखिलशुभे चरणयुगलस्थे अहं कम् अर्थं दास्ये भवद् अर्थं मम मनः भवतु. In the previous 3 shlokas, Sri Shankara asked Parameshwara, when will I be fortunate to get a direct vision of you with Mother Parvati? And how long will I have to wait for that? So he asked. Then in this shloka, he asks the Lord, what can I give you when I see you? Because everything is in you. But in the real world, Shastra says, Rikta hastair na seveta rajanam devatam gurum. It means when one goes to visit a king, a guru, and the Lord in the temple, one should not go empty handed. This is a norm according to Shastra. So, what should I give you? We will see in this shloka what does Sri Shankara give Lord Parameshwara. He Girisha, O Parameshwara, Shiva. Yesterday the detailed meaning for the word Girisha was explained. So we'll go ahead. Hemadrau, a mountain made of gold, is Karasthe, in your hands. Dhanapatau, king of kings, Kubera itself, Nikatasthe, is near you. Swarbhujamarasuraabhichinta manigane. Swarbhuja means the wish-yielding trees that grow in heaven. Kalpaka vriksha. Amara Surabhi means Kamadhenu, cow of the Devas, which gives everything that is sought for. Chintamani, the gems which give whatever is wished for. And then Gana means all of these, the group of all of these. Grihasthe, they are in your house. That is Kalpavriksha, Kamadhenu, Chintamani, all these are in your house itself. Shitamshau, Chandra or the moon, Shirasthe is in the head itself. That is, you are Chandrachuda, O Shiva. Then Akila Shubhe, all kinds of auspiciousness, Charana Yugalasthe are at your lotus feet itself. Aham, I, that is myself, come, which or what type of artham, object, dasye, should I give you? In other words, you have everything. So, what only should I give you? Mama manaha, my mind. Bhavad artham, for your sake, bhavatu, let it be. That is, I will give you my mind. You please accept it and keep it. Lord Shiva has Meru Parvata in his hands itself because while killing Tripurasura, Meru Parvata was used as a bow. Kubera is his friend who serves him, remaining always next to him. Ishvara being Lord of the universe, it is natural that all kinds of wealth and significant objects are in his house itself. Also, being Chandrasekhara, he has the moon with him. You name it, and any object of auspiciousness is with him. This being the reality, something which Parameshwara may not have should be given. So, what can that be? Sri Shankara says, O Shiva, you don't have my mind. So, I'm giving you my mind. Lord Parameshwara has everything significant in his possession. There is nothing more significant which we can offer him. Sri Shankara says, we should therefore offer our mind in complete surrender to Parameshwara. We know how Meru Parvata came to be in Parameshwara's hand. Now, how did Kubera come to reside near him? There is a narration for this. Brahma's Manasa Putra, that is, son born of his mind, named Manu Vishravas. And then his son, that is, son of Vishravas, was Vaishravana. This Vaishravana performed very intense penance. Lord Shiva himself was moved by that severe tapas. So he wanted to give direct darshan to Vaishravana. But with ordinary eyesight, Vaishravana could not see Lord Shiva. So the Lord touches Vaishravana and blesses him with divine sight. Then, when Vaishravana opened his eyes to see the Lord, his first glance fell on Parvati. On seeing Parvati, he was awestruck and thought Parvati must have performed more severe tapas than myself. He thought, wow, so beautiful is Parvati. How much more tapas she must have done to gain direct vision of Parameshwara all the time. So thinking, he stares at her for some time in awe. Parvati felt uncomfortable, and so the left eye with which he stared burns off. Parvati talks about it to Lord Shiva and he says, he is my child. He is wondering how much tapas you may have done. Then, even without asking for anything, Vaishravana gets blessed by Lord Shiva. That is, Vaishravana says, after gaining darshan of you itself, O Lord Shiva, what more do I need? I don't want anything. So Shiva voluntarily blesses him. He makes him the Lord of Navanidhi. Then he makes him the Lord of Guhyaka, Yaksha, Kinnara. And then he further blesses him by saying, May you be the one who can always give wealth to everyone. Also, you be the King of Kings and you be my friend forever. So, I will live in Kailasa near your place Alakapuri. Then Parvati also blesses him. She says, because you have one eye, you will be called Ekapinga, and may all the boons given to you by Lord Shiva be fructified. Since you felt asuya, jealous, on looking at my form, you may be called by the name Kubera. Kubero bhava namna tvam mama rupeshaya sutta, says Parvati. Thus Vaishravana was named Kubera by Parvati. Then Lord Shiva, he kept up his word and then he made Kailasa near Alaka Nagara as his abode with all his attendants also. Dhanapati or Kubera, therefore, is always seen to be residing near Lord Shiva's abode. Then this word Akhila Shubhe Charana Yugalasthe has a significant meaning. The word Shiva itself gives a very special meaning. In the word Shiva, Shi means Mangala, Shubha, Shanti. That is everything that is good and peaceful. Then that syllable Va also means Kalyana, Mangala. Altogether, the whole word denotes only auspiciousness. So, naturally, we get the meaning of Akhila Shubhe as the galore of all auspiciousness. Charana Yugalasthe, it remains at your feet, O Lord Shiva. Thus, the form of all auspiciousness, Parameshwara, unto him, that which we have to give is only our mind. If this mind is surrendered, everything else will take place in line with Ishvara's desire. Explanation for this shloka is concluded here. Shivananda Lahiri, shloka number 28. सारूप्यं तव पूजने शिव महादेवेति संकीर्तने सामीप्यं शिवभक्तिधुर्यजनता साङ्गत्य सम्भाषणे सालोक्यं च चराचरात्मकतनुध्याने भवानीपते सायुज्यं मम सिद्धमत्र भवति स्वामिन् कृतार्थोऽस्म्यहम्. अन्वय. हे स्वामिन्, तव पूजने सारूप्यं, हे शिव, हे महादेव इति संकीर्तने सामीप्यं, शिवभक्तिधुर्यजनता साङ्गत्य सम्भाषणे सालोक्यं च भवानीपते चराचरात्मकतनुध्याने अत्र मम सायुज्यं सिद्धं भवति. अहं कृतार्थः अस्मि. Shlokas 1 to 27, which we have completed so far, was set in Shikharini Chandas. That is the meter similar to the verses in Saundarya Lahiri. Each quarter had 17 syllables. Now, from verse 28, which we will see today, up to verse number 43, the shlokas are set in the meter or chandas named Shardula Vikridita. In this chandas, every quarter will have 19 syllables. Let us see how this chandas is defined technically and after how many syllables in this chandas a laya or pause can be taken. Suryashvair masajastatasa guravah shardula vikriditam. This is the definition for this chandas. Surya, that word denotes the number 12 because it is known that there are 12 Suryas or Adityas. The next word Ashwa denotes the number 7 because horses are popular as a group of 7. Both these numbers 12 and 7 imply Yati, which means the point where one can take a pause while chanting the shloka. Thus, in this, one can take a pause after first 12 syllables and then after next 7 syllables. Also in this chandas, the ganas present are Magana, Sagana, Jagana, Sagana, Tagana, another Tagana, and then a Guru. This type of combination is called Shardula Vikridita. Now in this verse 28, the first 3 lines do not have Yati Niyama because they are all long compound words. In the last line after Sayujyam Mama Siddhamatra Bhavati, we cover 12 syllables. So a pause can be taken here, and then Swamin Kritarthosmyaham covers 7 syllables, allowing for the next pause. In all shlokas, it is to be remembered, when long compound words samastapada are used, one cannot take a pause. This is a general norm. In the previous shloka, we surrendered our mind to Parameshwara. So, gaining the 4 types of mukti, liberation, will not be difficult for us, says Shankara, because the reasons which are explained in this shloka 28 tell us that one who has surrendered the mind to Parameshwara would have lived a purposeful life. Therefore, it has to culminate in moksha. Hey Swamin, O Parameshwara, Lord of all the worlds, Tava, to you, Pujane, doing continuous puja with complete concentration and devotion, resulting in the form of Parameshwara visualized in the mind, that is, envisioning the form of Lord, is the fructification of this kind of sincere prayer. Now, this vision is called Sarupyam. In other words, such a devotee will be one with Ishvara's form. In his mind or her mind, there will be only the Saguna form of Ishvara. A non-difference in form will be the experience. Then, Hey Shiva, Hey Mahadeva, in this way, while addressing the Lord, Sankirtane, and singing his glories, Samipyam, the Lord is right next to me or he is very near me, is the kind of experience. So, this is called Samipya liberation. Then, Shiva Bhakti Dhurya Janata Sangatya Sambhashane. Shiva Bhakti, devotion in Shiva. Dhurya, bearing or holding this kind of devotion for Shiva in the mind. Janata, the group. In such a group, and in their Sangatya, companionship, that is, remaining constantly in the company of such devotees, and Sambhashane, always talking to such devotees only. In other words, devotees who all the time are engaged in Shiva Puja, talking about Lord Shiva, remaining always in the company of such people all the time. Salokyam, one gets the feeling, I am in Shivaloka. So, this kind of experience is called Salokyam. Then, Bhavani Pate, the form of all auspiciousness, Parvati, her husband Parameshwara, Chara Charatmakatanudhyane, Chara, movable, Achara, immovable, all the objects in the world are body forms of you only, O Shiva. Now, meditating with this kind of feeling, that is, this feeling includes me too. I am also a form of you, Shiva, with such a mindset. That is, in me also, it is you who exists. Now, when this feeling takes over the person, atra, in this life itself, that is in this birth itself, mama, for me, sayujyam, I am in you, that is oneness with you, Shiva, is the kind of mukti experienced. That siddham bhavati, I will become or I attain. Therefore, aham, I, kritarthaha, very fulfilled, accomplished, asmi, am. Since I have gained everything, I will be content, fulfilled with life. That Paramananda I will attain. So, in this shloka, four ways in which, or four means in which, direct vision of Parameshwara is attained and experienced has been described. Now, all those four forms I have attained, saying so, and in trying to explain how, Sri Shankara started firstly with telling that while offering sincere devotional puja to Lord Shiva, that is the ritualistic method of worship, offering sandal paste to the Saguna form of Shiva, Murti form, then offering him flowers, offering him bilva leaf, offering or waving the lamp, then offering incense, then offering camphor. During all this time, seeing only the presence of Shiva's form, losing awareness of everything else, a vision is gained, which is called Sarupyam. Having gained this experience, while enjoying the oneness in form, then calling the Lord, O Shiva, Mahadeva, Bhavani Pate, and then singing verses praising him, the feeling of Shiva is near me, he is listening to me, he is not anywhere else. This arises, and then an experience of joy and ecstasy because of this closeness will result. That is called Samipya Muktihi. Further to this vision of closeness, there will be association with similar devotees. Then, continuing to sing the glories of Shiva, listening to his greatness, reading his Purana, talking about that Purana, along with devotees having similar experience all the time, a state is reached in which there is only Shiva Loka. No other worldly experience exists. Then a devotee reaching this state is said to have attained Salokya Mukti. Further to this is a higher plane in which one comes to know Ashtamurti Shiva, that is, seeing Shiva in every form, in all the elements, in earth, water, fire, air, space, the ritual for performer Yajamana, the sun, moon, everything, everywhere. Then the all pervading Shiva is the one in me also, will be the realization. That further leads to the knowledge I have never been away from Shiva, which means I, Aham, is Shiva. This is Sayujya Mukti, a vision of oneness. When this happens, truly I am fulfilled and contented. Now, summarizing, initially, external forms of worship give me Sarupya Mukti, then staying in that, engaging in a continuous conversation with Lord Shiva in the form of songs and stotras will give me closeness, Samipya Mukti. Further to that, a constant association with people of similar mindset will take me to Shivaloka, which is Salokya Mukti, and then I will start seeing only Lord Shiva in everything because differences cease to exist. Then it will be a continuous vision of Shiva everywhere, and then Shiva is in me, which is Sayujya Mukti, Shivoham. A life lived like this is naturally fulfilling. So I am a kritarthaha. As it was mentioned in the previous verse, all one has to do is surrender the mind to Lord Shiva. Then, like a child in complete innocence, when it calls out for its mother, Amma, and no matter where or how far the mother is, she will arrive to help the child. So also, Lord Shiva, to the surrendered mind, will give Sarupya, Samipya, Salokya, and Sayujya Mukti in this birth itself. This is Sri Shankara Bhagavad Pada's undoubted, firm, and very beautiful declaration in this verse. Explanation for this verse is concluded here. Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 29. त्वत्पादाम्बुजमर्चयामि परमं त्वां चिन्तयाम्यन्वहं त्वामीशं शरणं व्रजामि वचसा त्वामेव याचे विभो वीक्षां मे दिश चाक्षुषीं सकरुणां दिव्यैश्चिरं प्रार्थितां शम्भो लोकगुरो मदीयमनसः सौख्योपदेशं कुरु. अन्वय. हे विभो, परमं त्वत्पादाम्बुजम् अर्चयामि, अन्वहं त्वां चिन्तयामि, ईशं त्वां शरणं व्रजामि, वचसा त्वामेव याचे. हे शंभो, हे लोकगुरो, मे दिव्यैः चिरं प्रार्थितां सकरुणां चाक्षुषीं वीक्षां दिश मदीय मनसः सौख्योपदेशं कुरु. In the previous shloka, Sri Shankara said, my life is fulfilled because all the 4 types of mukti is attained in this life itself. Further to that, in this shloka, he says, I should always be engaged in doing puja to you, meditating on you, and I seek your support always. So, please bless me with Paramananda Sukha, for which there is no opposite called unhappiness. Hey Vibho, all pervading Parameshwara, Paramam, the most exalted, Tvatpadambujam, that your lotus feet, Archayami, I offer worship. That is, Archanam here will mean worship offered with the gross body, means with my hands I offer flowers, I offer incense, etc. Anvaham, each and every day. Tvam, supreme being that you are, and the most compassionate one to your devotees, that you, Chintayami, I contemplate upon. After offering puja with the external body, internal meditation is done. Then, Isham, the Lord, creator of the world, Tvam, that you, Sharanam, who gives release from the fear of the cycle of birth and death, Vrajami, I surrender to. Vachasa, with words also, that is using the organ of speech also, Tvameva, only you and not any other Devata, Yache, I pray to. What do I pray for? Hey Shambho, one who gives Sukha, happiness. Hey Lokaguru, teacher of all the devotees. Now here Guru actually means one who ensures that the student gains the most subtle self-knowledge. May to me, Divyaihi, from the divine beings, Devatas also, Chiram, since a very long time, Prarthitam, that which is the prayerful seeking, Sakarunam, filled with utmost compassion or kindness, Chakshushim Viksham, that glance or look of your eyes, Disha, please grace me with. Also, Madiya Manasaha, to my mind, Saukhyopadesham, one who bestows supreme bliss, is Brahma. Message about that Brahma, in other words, message of the oneness with Brahma, that is the Saukhyopadesham. Kuru, please give me that knowledge. I offer worship and prayers to the all-pervading form of Ishvara, Vibhu, because he, Vibhu, is the supreme being. The words I utter also will be praising that supreme Brahman. I seek refuge only in that Brahman because only he can bless me with self-knowledge, which is oneness of Jivatma and Paramatma. Here, the word Saukhyopadesham has to be clearly understood. The happiness one experiences in the world is limited in nature. It will be followed by unhappiness anytime soon. But the happiness gained from self-knowledge is eternal. That is called Nitya Sukha. Now, Upadesham or teaching pertaining to that eternal Sukha is implied in the word Saukhyopadesham. Sri Shankara is seeking that Nitya Sukha here. Brahman is in the form of that Nitya Sukha. So, it is Brahmopadesham that is sought for. Now, to attain that Nitya Sukha, even the Devatas have been praying for since a very long time. So, that exalted experience of eternal bliss, oh Vibhu, please grace me with. And how? By casting your compassionate glance on me. Now, this is the form of prayer by Sri Shankara. Now, here, this shloka implies the significance of what is called Chakshushi Diksha. This means blessing the devotee with the look or glance in the eyes itself. That is, Ishvara has to look compassionately at the devotee, and that look itself will fulfill all the desires. Distinct great gurus have the capacity to extend the teaching of self-knowledge by a mere glance at the student. It is known that Parashiva is Guru also. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. He, Parashiva, is the Lord. He is the Guru and he is the Atma also. Like this, in different forms and roles, it is the same Parashiva pervading the universe like space which is everywhere. That is why in this verse, Sri Shankara addresses Parashiva with the words Vibho and Lokaguru. This is of significance here. Only Ishvara himself as Lokaguru can impart the knowledge of oneness, Advaita Bhava between Jivatma and Paramatma. Also, Chitram Vatataror Mole Vriddha Sishya Gurur Yuva Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyanam Sishyastu Chinna Samshayaha. This is another popular verse praising Parashiva as Guru. Mauna Vyakhyana means with his compassionate glance itself, Ishvara gave self-knowledge to the students who were the Sanakadi, 4 munis. So, teaching in silence, their doubts were all cleared by Parashiva, who is none other than Lokaguru himself. Now, to be noted here is that which cannot be spoken with any number of words can be taught with a compassionate glance. That is why Sri Shankara says, Vibho, that compassion filled glance of yours I seek for, so that I will gain Nitya Paramananda Sukha. Explanation for this verse is concluded here. Shivananda Lahiri, Shloka number 30. वस्त्रोद्धूतविधौ सहस्रकरता पुष्पार्चने विष्णुता गन्धे गन्धवहात्मतान्नपचने बर्हिर्मुखाध्यक्षता पात्रे काञ्चन गर्भतास्ति मयि चेत् बालेन्दुचूडामणे शुश्रूषां करवाणि ते पशुपते स्वामिन् त्रिलोकी गुरो. अन्वय. हे बालेन्दुचूडामणे, हे पशुपते, हे स्वामिन् त्रिलोकी गुरो, वस्त्रोद्धूतविधौ सहस्रकरता मयि अस्ति चेत्, पुष्पार्चने विष्णुता मयि अस्ति चेत्, गन्धे गन्धवहात्मता मयि अस्ति चेत्, अन्नपचने बर्हिर्मुखाध्यक्षता, पात्रे काञ्चनगर्भता मयि अस्ति चेत्, तव शुश्रूषां करवाणि. कायेन मनसा वाचा. So, I engage this body, mind and words to continuously offer puja to you and to contemplate on you. Please bless me with Brahmananda, that is Saukhyopadesha, the teaching of that happiness which is the form of Brahman itself. Such was Sri Shankara's prayer in the previous verse. Then, continuing his verses of prayer, he says, "It is not possible for me to offer worship to you in your form because you are Sarvavyapi, all-pervading. In that situation, how to offer puja to you? Or in what feeling and sentiment puja should be offered to you?" As an answer to this, Sri Shankara has structured the prayer in this verse. He Balendu Chudamane, O Lord Chandrasekhara, or Lord who has the crescent moon in the matted locks. He Pashupate, the Jivas who are bound like animals, the Lord who releases them by giving moksha. In other words, that Lord who releases the pain of all those who are caught up in the wheels of samsara. He Swamin, O Lord of all the beings. He Triloki Guru, O the teacher of all the three worlds. Here, Guru means one who reveals the most subtle, and because it is subtle, it's also a secret. That secret teaching about Parabrahman, the absolute truth. In this, 4 types of Sambodhana or address to Ishvara has been mentioned. Now, all these 4 words have very significant meaning, which we will see towards the end of this explanation. Vastrodhuta vidhau, in the act of adorning you with clean clothes. Sahasra karata, if I take the sentiment of the sun god who has 1000 arms, that is, if I feel that I am the Surya Devata offering cloth to you, Mai asti chet, suppose I imagine that feeling in me, then I can successfully do puja to you. That is, the 1000 rays of the sun is taken as hands, Sahasra Karata. So, if I have 1000 hands, then you, Lord, whose form is extending across the 3 worlds, I will be able to adorn you with the cloth. In other words, I have to become the sun which can reach out to every corner of the world to be able to cover your form which is pervading the 3 worlds. Then, Pushparchane, in the ritual of offering flowers to you, Vishnuta, the form of Vishnu, Mai asti chet, supposing I had. Then, here the word Vishnu is derived from the verb root dhatu Vish Vyaptau, which means one who is spread out everywhere. Because Vishnu is everywhere, to you, Lord Shiva, who also pervades the 3 worlds, only that Vishnu is capable of offering flowers to you. Gandhe, in the act of offering sandal paste and other incenses to you. Gandha Vahatmata means Vayu or air, the form of air, which means the capacity to carry fragrance everywhere, which only the air possesses. Mai asti chet. Suppose I also possessed that capacity. Anna Pachane, in the act of offering cooked food to you, that is Naivedya Samarpana Samaye. Barhir Mukhadhyakshata, if I myself happen to be the Agni Devata, the Lord of Fire, and also in the matter pertaining to preparing that kind of Naivedya, Patre, the vessel, Kanchana Garbhata has to be the form of Hiranya Garbha. That is the sentiment of being the Brahmanda, the macro form of Brahma itself. In other words, the universal self. Mai asti chet, if that universal form I had, then tava to you, susrusham, offering services, Karavani, I will be able to do. Since I don't possess any of these, offering puja to you in your all pervasive form is impossible for me. If I attain all the divine capabilities mentioned, then it will be possible for me to offer puja to you. Now, when we offer puja to the Lord, if we have the attitude of I, aham, then that puja will not fructify favorably at all. No matter how well we think that puja has been done, it will not give the feeling of completeness when the I, aham sense prevails. Lord Parashiva is Sarvavyapi, all pervading. Unto this form of Lord, cleaning and offering clothing is possible only for the 1,000-armed sun god, Surya Devata. Only he is fit to say, Vastram Samarpayami. Also, to this great all pervading Shiva, only Vishnu can say Pushpani Samarpayami, because Vishnu is also everywhere and all pervading. Then, to the all pervading Parashiva, offering incense is possible only for the all pervasive air, Vayu Devata. Similarly, to Kala Rudra, that is, Rudra who swallows the whole creation at the time of universal annihilation, offering food is possible only for Agni Devata. That is, fire god can offer so much cooked form of food to that Samhara Rudra, not anyone else. Further, to prepare that Naivedya for Agni also, the vessel has to be appropriate. Brahma himself in the macro form, that is the Brahmanda, has to be the vessel, which means no ordinary being can create this vessel. With this understanding, how can I offer anything and feel that the puja ritual is complete? Is the prayer by Sri Shankara. Now, let us understand the 4 Sambodhana Padams used in this verse. That is, words addressing Shiva. The first one is Balendu Chudamane. Chandra is a symbol of knowledge. Since Lord Shiva adorns Chandra, the crescent moon, Bala Indu, on his head, it means one who holds knowledge as the highest order. Knowledge stands tall. In other words, Parashiva is the form of knowledge. Ardhanarishwara means one who loves knowledge and is himself form of all knowledge. Sarvajna. Offering puja to such a supreme form is not an ordinary task. Then, Pashupate. This word has been explained in many contexts, but however, we will again go through it. Pashu means the Jivatmas who are bound to samsara. Like animals are tied to a pillar, Pati is the Lord. So Pashupati means Lord of all the jivas, or in other words, causing us to drown in samsara and then uplifting us from the knots of samsara. Both are in the hands of the Lord. He controls everything. So also he is rightly addressed as He Pashupate. Then Swamin. In this word, swam has four meanings: I, and then my, and then money or wealth, and also bandhu or relative. Taking all these four meanings in one person, that is, one who has all these four in him. Swam asya asti iti swamin. Because Shiva is in us. When we say I, it means Shiva. Then when we say my or me, that also means Shiva. And he is money or wealth, and he is our bandhu, relative also. So naturally, he, Lord Shiva, is the Lord of everything. So addressing him as Swamin is very appropriate. The last word is Triloki Guru. As mentioned earlier, the word Guru means one who reveals the very subtle. Because it is subtle, it is also a secret all the time. So, that meaning of I, one who reveals. It is Shiva alone who imparts this knowledge to all the three worlds. Without Shiva as Dakshinamurti Swarupa, the supreme teacher, the first teacher, we cannot even perceive the absolute truth. Thus, mentioning these four words as forms of address to Paramatma, is it easy to offer puja to such a great Paramatma? Asks Sri Shankara. Then, through the verse, he mentions that it is not impossible but extremely difficult, and so it can be made possible with great effort. With this, explanation for this verse is concluded.